I know that they have shit in their contract, like Vin Diesel, Jason Statham, and The Rock, where they can't be shown getting beaten on camera. Like they can't lose a fight, which
It's
makes it
dumb.
really dumb because then whenever they fight, you know it's just gonna amount to like nothing. It's gonna be like, oh, you got away this time. It was a draw.
Yeah,
Yeah,
shit would be different if they put me in a Fast and Furious films. I promise you that. Yeah.
I can't drive. That'd be a very interesting. Just add somebody.
hello everyone, and welcome to episode 5 of the Letterboxd 250 podcast. As usual, I am joined by.
So
Unfortunately, Sharrit couldn't make it today, so of course we thought to replace him with his brother. Do you want to introduce yourself?
The youngest, sexier model, Zishan.
How are you? You
I'm
okay?
alright. I'm dude. I just woke up. That's why I look like shit.
So, as you're our guest, on the first episode, I asked Simon and Sharrit what their experiences with Letterboxd was. Do you want
Uh,
to tell us about yours?
yeah, I got it really early on, and then I didn't use it for like 2 years, and then I started getting this whole community of friends and shit who were putting me on to stuff that I love now, like mumblecore, all that type of stuff, and so I guess I've never really had a bad experience. Other than when, like, you go back and you look at your reviews and you think, I'm so cringy writing this shit.
Can you think of what your hottest take on Letterboxd is? Can you think of one film you have rated higher than like a classic?
Oh, I've got a lot of films I got really tied to the classic. I didn't like Vertigo very much.
What,
Uh,
Vertigo?
yeah,
yeah.
it didn't sit right with me. I love Psycho, but Vertigo it was even Rear Window. Rear Window is kind of fire.
Yeah.
Um, I think there's some other shit. I really like Batman vs Superman. I gave that 5 stars. So I guess that's the hot take I've got. I haven't got anything too insane. I don't think.
Simon, can you think of any you've got?
I think I've given Speed Racer 5.
That's fine. That's very
A good
deserved.
film, yeah.
I haven't watched it. It's meant to be really good, so I don't know if that's a hot take anymore. It's like a cult classic.
That's true. I
Yeah,
think
it
it
is
more
now. At
than
this point, yeah, now, yeah. Have you guys watched Catch the Kid? It just came to mind right now.
no.
Catch the Kid with
No.
with Christian Stewart.
I'm going
Damn
through
it.
Kristen Stewart films right now though. I got certain women somewhere here, my fucking Blu-ray thing, and then I'm going through it all. I'm going through every Rooney Mara film, even like the shit ones she's done. She's done for someone who does like barely any acting. She's done so many shit films.
That's why she's so quiet.
Exactly.
The hottest take I can think of is I didn't like Pulp Fiction, and I give that 2 out of 5. So
I
whenever
don't
I
think
watch,
that's
like,
that hot though. To be fair,
do people turn against it now?
I feel like it's the mentality that like you're a film bro if you love that film. Because I mean I don't fuck with it too much. I like the dialogue, but past
Yeah.
that I think it's kind of whatever.
So but it's in the back of my head. You know, whenever I watched Dora, The Lost City of Z, and gave that 3 stars, like in the back of my head, I'm like, you rated this higher than Pulp Fiction, and I'm a fraud. But yeah, are you guys ready to move on to the film today?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, sir.
So the film we're talking about today is Invisible Life. In the conservative home of the Gusmao family, Idris and Gouda are two inseparable sisters who support each other. While Gouda can share with her younger sister the details of her romantic adventures, Eurydice finds in her older sister the encouragement she needs to pursue her dreams of becoming a pianist. So, Zishan, as our guest, what did you think of the film?
I liked it. I was a fan. I went into it thinking the whole aesthetic and the shots of it looked like because I only watched like the first minute and then a week later I watched the whole thing, and I really liked it. I mean, I can go into depth, but I guess I'll keep it low key now. But I thought that it was pretty touching. I really liked. It reminded me a lot of other melodramas that are very. I think the foreign melodramas kind of have a, do you know, like Secret in Our Eyes and stuff like that.
Yeah,
It kind of blends into them, but at the same time, it has just enough of a touch that you kind of get the whole sense of uh person, like the personal feel that went into it by the director.
yeah. Simon, what did you think of it?
I think it was a nice little meditative metadrama, focusing on topics such as destiny, longing, and of course growth. it's got some great performances. You know, the two sisters, and which made it engaging and somewhat worthwhile overall. Because I did find myself getting a bit bored. I'm not gonna lie. Like it, you know, there's a lot of I guess filler for me. What felt like filler. But one thing that did stand out was what did I put here in my notes? I like the fact that how sex was portrayed as somewhat of a microcosm of the patriarchal 1950s world the story exists within. In that it wasn't something like it was ought to be. Well, it was ought to be like a mutual experience between people, but instead here it's an exercise in domination because almost every single one of them you see in the film, I think it's like four or five. One's even a rape scene. They're just so gross and violent, and it's something that the two sisters have to give up reluctantly, and that was one of the strongest points for me.
Yeah. But yeah, talking about the sex scenes, you just reminded me of how shocking it was when the erect penis just came flying at the screen. In 3D, this film would have been terrifying. But yeah, so I watched it. It took me a while to warm to it. Like the start, I was
Yeah.
like, where is this going? And I wasn't fully on board. And then I saw on Letterboxd say, oh, prepare yourself for the restaurant scene. And I was thinking, oh, what does that mean? And then the restaurant scene happened. And from that point, I was on board till the end. So I've edited videos in the past. I've never edited a film. So I have like an editing mindset. And I was thinking, a lot of the stuff in the first act you really could have trimmed down. It felt rather unnecessary. And because it does feel like a slice of life film, sometimes the pacing of those films can be hard to perfect. And I think it was perfected in the second half of the film. But I feel like we could have got there a lot sooner. Like it didn't really hit me what the film was about until that point, and it was about two sisters forever searching for each other and just never finding that connection again. But they still lived their own lives, and it was depressing at points. It was never overly depressing, but it wasn't a pleasant watch. And like you said with the sex scenes, it wasn't portrayed as glamorous at all, and you did kind of want to look away. But I did like the film. I didn't love it. I did love the second half, but it's hard to love something as a whole when there's so many weak points and like they sometimes outweigh the good. But yeah, I did enjoy it. So yeah.
It's kind of like Endgame, and the first half's kind of pretty boring, and then I'm joking.
I was going
double
to
feature right there.
Nah, it's great. How does this compare to the last Brazilian film we watched in this series?
we haven't uploaded it yet, but by the time this is out, obviously that will be out. So it was a film called Entranced Earth, and it was released in the 1950s, wasn't it? Instead of
it was based in the 60s, yeah.
And oh my god, it was one of the worst films I've ever seen.
Yeah, my brother was telling me that shit. Like, he hated that shit with a passion.
Because of the like, I didn't grow up watching those old classic films.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can watch something and appreciate it, but just still not like it. I couldn't even appreciate that film. It just wasn't well made at all, in my opinion. But this film, the cinematography I thought was beautiful. Like the color palette, it felt classic, and it's going to give the film a timeless feel. Because even though it was set in the 1950s, that only dawned on me once they say it in the letters. Because this film did feel timeless. It could have been set present day, could have been set in the 50s, 60s.
Definitely.
But yeah. So did you want to go in depth on it, Zishan? Did you have further thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it plays off your guys' shit. When it comes to the lighting as well, I thought the lighting was the whole color. It's so it doesn't try and take away from the story. It's just these little parts that add to it. Like at the start when she's standing with the dress and she has that like bluish light all around her, and it's so like peaceful and innocent. And for the rest of the film, you just see her in this like dingy like hospital lighting or in a room with barely any light to begin with. And it's just these little parts I think that make the film. Like you were talking about how it's really slow in the first half, but I feel like these are the type of moments that I guess it's kind of, I watch so many like mumblecore films, which are literally they just make up the shit on the spot. It's these moments that get you feeling for these characters, and you're sitting there just waiting, like, why don't you go run out or just run into the street and search for her? It's just one of those ones. It's meant to like piss you off. I feel like you're meant to look at it and think, why isn't she doing anything? And it's just these people trying to get their lives together. I think one scene that was like a really, really good for me, even though it wasn't even the scene, just like the 5 seconds of it. Do you know when she first comes home with the baby, or like when she's pregnant, and then she opens the door and her mom doesn't like ask her any questions, doesn't do it. She just hugs her and she's just completely happy with it. I think that's such like an honest and caring like scene that made me smile.
Yeah, and just after that, and then the dad comes in, and no, I didn't read the synopsis, so I wasn't actually sure what the film was about, and I wish I did because it might have given me a clearer view of where it was going. Because in that scene, I kind of empathize with I can't pronounce, but I sided almost with the dad at first because she did just run away, but then the dad is all sometimes portrayed as cartoonishly evil. Like I don't know, because he was right to be mad in that moment, but then for him to never allow her back in the home, and I think they said it's a conservative family, so he's very
Brazil's really Christian.
he's stuck to his ways, which yeah, I'm glad he was portrayed as evil eventually. Like in that scene, I did side with him, and even just thinking back now, seeing the rest of the film, I'm like, God, like why did I side with him? Makes me feel bad about myself. But
yeah, there you go, blaming women.
I was just saying,
as always.
I'm glad I watched this film now, especially with the events that have happened this week, and like that men need to be held accountable for the stuff they do. Because like there's not a single nice man in this film. And like sometimes that can be done like very preachy, and it can be done like portray men as cartoonishly evil. And I do think the dad was sort of portrayed that way. But it's a film about women and how women are like living in a man's world, especially at this time in that country. And I think it does it in a very good and accessible way, which sometimes you find foreign films for like an English audience aren't very accessible. But I found this quite in the second half an easier watch.
Yeah, I kind of like that. It's oh my bad.
Carry
But I
on.
kind of like that. In the way that it's honest, it doesn't try and put a whole kind of moral lens on everything. Like the way the dad acts, you do kind of feel a little bit like, okay, I understand where he's coming from. But then you see how these values and the ideologies of the people around, like when she says she's pregnant and she knows she can't do anything about it, and you realize that sometimes it's just a product of the way that they're raised, because her son doesn't grow up to be like that, or he doesn't act like that when he grows up. So it's kind of like the society propelled that whole. I hate talking about society because it sounds like I'm on a fucking Joker rant, but like it kind of propels it. If that makes sense, I'm kind of rambling.
Yeah,
No, I get it. Simon, what was you going to say?
I don't think he's cartoonishly evil. I think he's just like what's the word? What's like he's a representative, if that makes sense, of that era of men where they're like they've they actually every man in that sense in that country who's a family man would obviously be very strictly Christian because the country is very Christian, and so he would be very patriarchal by definition. So I don't think he was cartoonishly evil. Perhaps just perhaps you're not up to date with like Brazilian history yet again. That's why you don't understand.
No, that is true. I wasn't aware of how strict and how religious they were.
Yeah.
So now you've told me that, it does make a lot more sense. And also, without that, the plot doesn't happen. So you've got to kind of take it. But what I also do like is that the women aren't portrayed as perfect either, which I find a lot of films feel the need for the main characters to be perfect and never make mistakes. Like the scene where she gives birth and just leaves the baby, and she does go back for him eventually, but I just like the scene where she left him and then went clubbing that same night, because that's not the morally right thing to do, like the way she went about it. But I just like how it's not as black and white as most films would have made that situation. And I thought it was handled really well, just the way everyone's presented. But can I ask you guys what you thought of the ending?
I was a bit confused. I'm not gonna lie. At first, I think because I dazed off and I looked at the TV instead of the screen. I had to wind it back to the funeral, not the funeral, but the graveyard scene, and realized that, oh, it's the other sister who passed away, who was still in Brazil, and this one came back. Yeah, from wherever did she go? She went to Austria or something for piano. This one was the one. The tall one was the one who went to Austria. The shorter sister stayed in
Yeah, the
Brazil, in it.
piano one. But she didn't
Yeah,
die. She like had to
yeah,
change her identity for the
Yeah.
house or whatnot.
yeah.
To
So
own the house, she had to take the woman she was living with's name. So
yeah.
did actually like technically fake her death. But then which one of them passed away right at the end?
At the end, yeah, when it all fast forwards without the time thingy
That
telling you
one
what
was the same one who lost the
talking.
house and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
when it cut it, because it doesn't reveal straight away there's been a time jump. But then all of a sudden we started focusing on this older lady, and I was like, I do hope for the story's sake this is her all grown up, because that's going to be like a real emotional gut punch.
Yeah.
And then she finds the letters, and then I'm like, oh, here's going to come the what we've all been waiting for. They're finally going to meet, and then she has passed away, and I do think the film presents it as a happy ending, whereas for me, because I said it was an easy watch and it was accessible, but some points weren't, and it was quite depressing when you thought about what these women had been through. And I wish there was a happier ending. Like that might have just been me, who like because you sit through 2 hours 20 minutes, you kind of hope there's something at the end waiting for you. Whereas I felt like it was just more of the same, where they were just missing each other.
I feel like it was kind of more like during this whole film, she's stifled in whatever she wants to do. If she wants to play piano, her husband has a problem with that for some reason. You know, she wants to go out, she can't do that. She can't have any. She's like struggling to take a breath during this whole film, and then that moment is this one moment where she can just kind of. She knows her sister's all right, and she lived a happy life, and she created this like school or whatever it was, and
Yeah.
she can just kind of breathe and relax, knowing that it wasn't all just fucked from the start.
Yeah. So it is a happy ending in a way. I think selfishly, I just wanted to see them meet. It could have just been them like walking towards each other, then it could have cut to black, and that would have been enough for me.
Like some name type stuff. They just walk past each other's staircase.
But yeah, Simon, what did you think of the ending? Did it work for you, or?
Yeah, I liked it. It was nice, and the fact you couldn't tell it was modern day Brazil was. I'm not gonna lie, that was a bit for me actually. For me, it was a bit confusing at first. I was like the country unfortunately hasn't like modernized as much. It's not the people's fault, of course. Yeah.
The moment I saw the Converse, and when do Converse go back to? Like they're quite an old shoe, aren't
I don't think. I think the basketball players were playing in the 60s with them on. Yeah, I think.
they? Oh, the
Yeah, I
moment
think
I
it's
saw the
old.
Converse, I was like, I think this is present day, and then it showed him on a phone, so I was like, yeah, this is present day. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. So should we give our final ratings?
As the guest, you go first. Yeah.
Fuck, I'm not good at rating shit. I'll give it like a 3.5, maybe like 3.75
Yeah.
type shit.
Simon?
Yeah, same. 3.5 right now. Maybe post nut clarity kick in later, but right now.
I think post
Post film. Post film clarity.
post film clarity kicked in for me straight away. You know, sometimes you'll watch a film and you think this is good, and then the moment the credits hit, I'm like, I've already kind of forgot it. And it was the second half. I was like, this is good. Then it ended, and I was like, I can't remember anything from the first half. So I'm leaning more towards a 3 out of 5 because it's a positive rating.
Yeah.
But I would never go out my way to watch it again. And I don't know how well it's going to stick with me over time. I can't imagine it lasting that long. So, but I did enjoy it. I'm glad I watched it. So this is the segment now where we talk about what we've been watching this week. Simon, do you want to go first this time? Or?
All right then. I've been watching A Last Chance You, the basketball version this time. It's a new series on Netflix about these kids who didn't make it as athletes, and like because America has these weird system when it comes to schools where they'll have like a first tier division universities that gets you straight into like the leagues and go professional, and then it has like a junior college, which is basically just community college, and then you can do like 1 year or 2 years there, and then get a scholarship to go to the top tier universities and make it. And it's just seeing these kids' journey from getting from their area to top tier universities to go pro. It's very emotional.
Basketball
Yeah.
documentaries are quite big at the moment. I have no clue about basketball. The only thing I know about is Like Mike. Like Mike was such a good film when I was young.
Still
But,
good, yeah.
but yeah, have you watched any films, or is it just have you been watching a lot of shows?
Actually, quickly, let me check. Actually, I think I have.
While he's checking, Zishan, have you watched
Yeah.
anything?
Yeah. I've been. I watched like High Fidelity over 2 days. I just sat there. It was Zoe Kravitz, and I was like, yeah, she bad.
It's
Let
so
me
good.
just watch.
It's
It
so
was
good.
fire.
It's fire, yeah.
I'm so annoyed it didn't get a second season, but you know
Yeah.
what? It ended nicely enough that I can be at
Yeah.
peace with it. I was watching a bunch of, do you know, like the old Takashi Ito like light work short films.
Yeah.
I
Sharrett
watched.
sent me one. I thought it was a music video, and turns out it was a short film. We talked about it, I think, episode ago. Yeah.
Yeah, they're banging like Thunder and Ghost and shit. It's so fun. I want to make something like that. Like just try it out with the light because my favorite thing about film is like, you know, the Lynch type shit where you can just get emotion out of something, and
Yeah.
it'd be like the most, like, even in Twin Peaks it'll be a shot of like a forest and it'll be the most terrifying shit you see in your life, and it's so wild how he has like no dialogue in that, literally just pictures that he was like, let me photoshop some shit into it, and it's some of the most terrifying stuff you can possibly watch.
You know that High Fidelity? Have you seen the film?
I haven't seen the original film. I'd rather watch Zoe Kravitz, so I was
I,
like, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like the film. People rave about it, but it never worked for me. So I'm assuming the show's better.
The
I
show's
know.
amazing.
So, I mean, did you like the show?
I prefer the show to the film, yeah, because I don't remember the film that much.
I just remember Jack Black in it and John Cusack.
Thingy in the air, Cusack and her mum, Zoe Kravitz's mum.
Uh, is she?
Yeah. That's her mum in the film, yeah.
Oh, is she
And
playing?
she
Oh,
plays Zoe Kravitz's character, but like
oh,
as
That's
the
fire.
original, yeah.
I get it. What
Yeah.
have I been watching? I watched the.
Cherry, just
Yeah,
today. Yeah.
I watched the making of One Division first thing this morning, and then immediately after I watched Cherry, Tom Holland's
What
new
did you think
film.
about it?
Oh, I liked it. I'll say that first of all. I did like it. I give it a 3 out of 5. The film is like split into like 5 parts, same way like the Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League is going to be. And I think when you do that, you run the risk of certain parts being better than others, and that did happen here. Because as you know, it's split into like before the war, when he's in the army, and then after. The bit where he's in the army was my favorite bit, and I'm not normally like a war film kind of guy, but that really worked for me. And then the problem is all very surface level, and the problem for me is the script more than the direction. And I'm pretty sure the Russo brothers didn't write the script. Like the dialogue is like the bare minimum of what it could and should be, and everyone's complaining about the flashiness. I kind of liked it in certain parts. There's one bit where a character's taking a drug and the colors are slightly saturated.
But don't tell me 1 second. Does it have a shot where it's like strapped to him, and there's a camera in his face, and he's
I
going
see
wild?
that. I see that picture.
I can't even remember. But
Ah.
there's so many wild shots that it's hard not to appreciate somewhat, even if it doesn't work for you. But the first act has the worst stylized bits. I think there's certain stylized moments that I wish they had just stuck with, and that was enough instead of doing like something stylized every shot basically. Do you know when he's at the bank and the name tag says Mr.
Yeah.
Whoever, like it doesn't give him a name? I like that. I thought that was unique because obviously he's retelling the story, so
Uh-huh.
he doesn't remember the names. Why would he? And I thought that's clever. And then there's when he's at the boot camp for the army, the screen is I don't know what aspect ratio it is, but it's when the black bar on the side,
16:4.
it's black bars at the top as
16:4,
well.
yeah. Oh, I don't know what that is then. I just thought the two on the side.
If you watch the trailer when he's in the boot camp, like the screen's a lot smaller. And when I saw the trailer, I was like, why are they doing that? They're just doing that to be like, look how artsy we are. But it kind of worked because of the claustrophobic feel of boot camp. And I think the Russo brothers were basically like, we've made these Avengers, these superhero films. Let's show people we're real filmmakers. Times 10 is what they did. And I think if they dialed it back, there could have been something really good here with a better script. But it was just good for me. Like, I did enjoy it. But I think you'll see what I mean when it's certain parts are better than others.
I'm not watching that film, I'll be honest with you. I saw clips from it and I was like, this shit looks bad. I already have beef with Tom Holland. Well, not personal beef, but like, he's taken Uncharted over, he's fucking up my Uncharted. He's apparently going to be in a Legends of Zelda film. I don't want him fucking up all my, like, fun shit.
And I'm a Tom Holland fan, but he isn't everything. Like, I think studios are like, who's a bankable star? Like, we had this conversation the other day, like, who's the it boy at the moment?
He's a new Christian Bale, the British guy who goes to Hollywood and just takes everything. Yeah.
Hot take about Tom Holland in this film. He is very good. Like, he's not as incredible as people are making him out to be. He is very, very good in this film. Probably Oscar nomination worthy, not Oscar winner worthy. There's been better performances.
Oscar nomination worthy.
But yeah,
that's bold.
He is very good. But this is my hot take. I think he is the best crier in Hollywood at the moment. When he cries and like when his voice cracks, it hits. And if you do watch this film, you're not going to watch it, Zishan, but when you watch this film, whenever he cries in it or whenever his voice cracks, it hits. Like, I don't know why, even with how just okay the film is, it hits. And like when you think back to the homecoming scene where he's got the rubble on him and he's like, someone help, and he's like, come on, Spider-Man. You can't tell me you're not rooting for him.
I love the Spider-Man films. I'm having no slander on those films. Even Far From Home's got some stupid ass scenes. I don't give a fuck. I love that film.
But yeah, like the scene where he's crying over Tony, like when he's reminiscing, like that's one of the best scenes in Far From Home. So that's my hot take of the day. I think Tom Holland's the best crier in Hollywood at the moment.
I think we established that in the Impossible.
Oh,
I think we established in that film. Yeah, I watched the Broken Hearts Gallery. I like that a lot, but that's because rom-coms are my drug.
Yeah, nah, I back that 100%.
Yeah, it's just so good. And I watched 2 short films. One's called Mandem and one's We Love Moses, which I'm not going to discuss. Did you see it coming?
It wasn't what I was expecting, to be honest.
Oh man, I expected the worst to happen. He went left. Yeah, Carl, you should watch it. It's on Netflix.
I'm laughing, but I have no clue what happened.
It's wild.
Yeah, it's like 20. I think it's 20 minutes long. Yeah,
it's not that long. Yeah.
Yeah, just try and watch it. Yeah. And Mandem's is another one you should watch. That has a twist in it. I reckon you'll like it.
I watched the Daft Punk movie as well recently. Interstellar 555. That shit is fire. But that's just because Daft Punk just make it work. Like, there's no dialogue in that shit. But you just see them having fun. It's not too complicated. It's the very simple shit. They take musicians from space and make them into humans to make platinum records to take over the world, or whatever the fuck. But just there's so much creativity put into it that it's hard not to sit there and be like, oh, that's fun as fuck. Same as like I watched Ocean's 12 again as well, and it's so like fire. It's so fire, and it's so every single thing like Soderbergh does is so fun, but also dumb smart. Like even the Julia Roberts shit, I love that stuff. As stupid as it seems, when you watch it again, knowing that it happens. The way that it's so baitly just trying to prod you in that direction.
They set it up, don't they, from the start? They're like, don't you think she looks like...
Yeah.
They set it up right from the start. Is Bruce Willis in Ocean's 12? Am I imagining that?
Yeah, he's in that scene in France.
Oh, God. The Ocean's films are classics. I love all of them, even Ocean's 8. Ocean's 8 is very good, I think.
I like Ocean's. I feel like it's everything that, even though I find the Fast and Furious films like fun because of how now they've just gone absolutely batshit. Like you watching the trailer, Vin Diesel fucking catches a car with his bare hands. It's so wild. But I feel like that's kind of what they were trying to go for and what they've always been trying to like achieve.
Yeah. I do not get a single person who's like the Fast and Furious films were better at the start. Anyone who says it, I don't believe. Like they're so plain, boring at the start. Like the first one's okay. I don't remember 2.
You don't
I
remember
haven't,
with Tyrese Gibson?
Useful as fuck.
Bro,
I
come on, man.
remember it.
So that's the
I
best
haven't,
one in the beginning.
I haven't seen Tokyo Drift. I need to watch Tokyo Drift. It looks so fun. And then I think four's the worst one.
Yeah.
Or I don't remember at all.
What
But
was that?
then
'Cause that was just Fast and Furious. Yeah, it came out 2008 or some shit.
five
That
is
was
when
one where
shit,
they were underneath all the sand shit,
Yeah.
like trying to drive into the desert or something. I don't remember what the plot of it was.
but five is when shit got good. The
That was
bank
so good. Wow.
heist films are hard to mess up. They're
But
so
it's such a stupid heist though. Like why would you do that for a whole city? Like it doesn't work at all, man. But it's so good because it's dumb anyway.
Is
yeah.
that as much as it like leans into it, that's what it
Yeah,
makes it like good.
yeah,
That's why the one that came out before where Vin Diesel turned evil or some shit, that didn't sit right for me because it was being dumb, but for the sake of being dumb. Like he knew the whole time that he was gonna get out of it. I forgot how he even
yeah.
got out of it, but
What's your opinions on Hobbs and Shaw? Was that the right amount of dumb?
oh, my brother fucking loves that film. I thought it was alright. I didn't think it was anything special. I know that they have shit in their contract, like Vin Diesel, Jason Statham, and The Rock, where they can't be shown getting beaten on camera. Like they can't lose a fight, which
It's
makes it
dumb.
really dumb because for them, whenever they fight, you know it's just gonna amount to like nothing. It's gonna be like, oh, you got away this time. It was a draw.
Yeah,
Yeah, shit would be different if they put me in the Fast and Furious films. I promise you that. Yeah.
I can't drive. That'd be a very interesting. Just add someone who has a no driver's license to a Fast and Furious film.
Uh,
so should we wrap it up with our recommendations? At the end of each episode, we give a recommendation each and usually finish with a group recommendation. The same way Letterboxd has 4 favourites.
Yeah.
That's a reach, but that's why we do it. So who wants to go first? Does anyone have one planned or?
I didn't have one planned, but I remember I was going through the 250 shit to see if you did happen to go all the way to one, like what would it end up with?
Yeah.
And I know End of Evangelion's there, and that film is like one of the best films I've seen in my life. That film is fucking amazing. The fact that one person could make not only a banging TV show in Neon Genesis, but have a film that's somehow better than all of that shit.
I meant to ask because when we do get to that, is it connected to the show? Like, do we need to have
Yeah,
prior
you need
knowledge?
to. You don't like. I guess you don't need to watch the show, but it's like 2 episodes put together into a film, and
Oh,
it's kind of alternate endings to the ending of the show.
yeah. We'll
nice.
have to do our research as we get to that one then, if we
The
ever do.
show's not that long. I watched it when I had COVID, and like no matter how I
Whoa,
was
whoa, whoa,
literally
whoa, whoa!
dying.
You had COVID.
Yeah, I had COVID in York. I got to York. I was there for
Yeah.
3 weeks. First week I was having fun. I was doing no shit. I was on a date. I was literally on my way to a date, and we were going to like this forest place that they made. And they were like, "Oh, you can't go." And I just had to walk home on my ones. And she went inside, and I was like, "Fuck." And then they were like, "All right, you got COVID." I was dying. I had it bad. I was like on my deathbed. But every time that fucking theme song for Neon Genesis came on, I was dancing. I was having the fucking time of my life.
I
But
think Sherry must have mentioned that, but I don't remember. Well, for my recommendation, I'm keeping it Brazilian. This film also came out in 2019. It's called Bacaro. I think it's still on movie. If you want to watch it,
Yeah,
you
it's
can
on
watch it on
movie.
movie. Yeah, watch it. It's like don't even read a synopsis. Watch the trailer because I didn't expect the shit that happened in it to happen. Yeah, so that's my recommendation.
I've
Visit
actually,
Life beat Baccarat, didn't it, for like the nomination for best foreign film?
And the Oscars.
Yeah, like because you know they can only nominate one film per country.
that's a stupid rule, I think, as
So
well.
fucking dumb.
Yeah.
Uh,
What happened the year Parasite came out? There was 2 films from the same
French
country, weren't there?
Portrait and Les Miserables, whatever the fuck you
Oh.
pronounce it.
Portrait of a Lady on Fire is in the 250, isn't it? It's very high up, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, it's up there somewhere.
I'm looking forward to getting to that
All
because
the people on Twitter with the fucking portrait paintbrush shit, they like put all their reviews into it so I can get up.
oh, God. There's a film that was 249, I believe. No, 250 itself was a film called La Belle Noire, which was another French painting film, and it was 4 hours long. It was such a bore.
You got
It
some
was,
long films up there. Like I was watching, yeah, Best of Views. That film's like 5 hours, I think.
yeah. Like I struggle with anything past 2 hours. Like Invisible Life, I thought was going to be a struggle, but
Get ready for the Snyder Cut, 4 hours. Up there, honestly, if it was in cinemas, I'd sit there and I'd watch. I became such a fucking Snyder fanboy over lockdown. It's a curse.
Have you seen the trailer for the zombie film he made?
Yeah, one with Batista and shit.
Yeah. I'm kind of gassed for that
I'm up for it. I'll watch whatever the fuck
because
you made.
the concept just doesn't make sense. So I'm trying to figure out, okay, how is this gonna happen? Because everyone's zombies. So what do you need to? I'm not gonna say nothing, Carl. Don't worry. I'll
no,
stop
I
there.
know what the concept is.
Oh, fair, yeah.
An
A
apocalypse.
heist zombie. Like, what is that for? What? Just rob it. Dumb. I mean, just rob the medicine if that's what you're paying for. But yeah, it's dumb.
Yeah,
We'll
it's
see though. We'll
kind
see.
of extra, but fuck it.
Yeah,
It'll
we'll
be fun.
see. Yeah.
My recommendation is a recent film. I'm going to go for Promising Young Woman. Have you seen it yet?
No, I really wanted to watch it before, and then I heard a lot of shit coming out of it, where it was like the only people who like it are men. I was like, all right, maybe I'll. 'Cause
Whoa.
even Bo Burnham isn't like advertising the film and he's in it, and I feel like it's. I'll get to it because I like films where it's not just. It's very not controversial, but I like where I feel like I'm not. My judgment isn't weighed by like someone else being like, "Oh, this film's the greatest film of all time."
Yeah.
Damn, I
Do
didn't
you-
realize that only men like that film because I like it.
Yeah, I'm surprised to hear that because
Yeah.
I knew it was controversial, and then I watched it expecting controversy,
Yeah.
and I get that it's using rape as like a vehicle for the plot to move forward, and it's from someone else's perspective, like Moxie was. Moxie isn't about the girl who was assaulted; it's about someone reacting to someone being assaulted, which that I completely get. But I think the film's heart's in the right place. Its heart's in the right place because it's trying to, in what the events that have happened this week, it's trying to say being a good guy isn't enough. Because no spoilers, there's a guy in this film who's like presented as a good guy, and he didn't do anything, but he didn't stop stuff from happening, and that's just as bad. That's what it's been presented. And the film does stumble in its ending. Like it's trying to have an ending that people will talk about, and it kind of overshadows the film's messages.
Mhm.
Like people should be walking away from this film talking about, we need to do this better. We should hold people accountable. Whereas people are walking away from it thinking that ending sucked, which is not what the film wanted you to talk about. So I'm surprised to hear that mostly men liked it because I thought it'd be the opposite because this film's basically saying, men, you need to up your game, like you need to fix yourselves. So I am surprised to hear that. Simon, what did you think of it? Because you liked it as well.
Yeah, I liked it. Like it was, yeah, it wasn't like radical. I'm not gonna lie, like it wasn't radical or anything. But I'm guessing women don't like it because it's just not realistic or anything. I don't know. I don't want
Yeah,
to
they
speak on
said it
behalf of them.
was like insulting to people who have been through sexual assault, like to have it, I guess not presented that way, but they said it wasn't
Yeah.
like honest to them.
Okay, I guess it's because, like you said, it was using someone else's problem. Even though was she actually, did something happen to her as well in that party? Something.
Not the lead. Nothing. I don't think anything.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, she just used someone else's trauma for her like revenge, whatever. So I guess that's bad in hindsight with that.
I
Opinions.
I think it's a touchy one, isn't it? Because then if it happens to the lead, then it's almost
It's her story.
yeah.
But
It's a
it's some,
touchy one, and then because of the film's tone, it's very like glossy on the surface, but then it's like this slick, dark comedy, and like a slick, dark comedy to be about rape, it's a very hard line to walk. And I thought the film did a good job. There was never a point where I was like, this feels out of place. And there's even like a romantic comedy aspect at one point, and there's like a killer scene where they play Paris Hilton's "Stars Are Blind," and that song has been stuck in my head ever since. And for a film to pull from all those genres, which I think is becoming a genre itself, like with Parasite, it's so many genres at once. And like it's horror, it's comedy, it's thriller, but it manages to walk that line perfectly. So I'm glad films aren't like put into a box anymore. Like I'm really enjoying this new genre, if it is a genre. But I would recommend giving it a watch because what you've heard, I agree with, but I don't completely agree with. So
I'm still
if you want,
check it out, but it just stopped me from like being there day one rushing.
yeah, no, I get that. I get that. As our guest, do you have a second recommendation instead of doing a group?
I mean, I don't mind doing a group one. Let me check. A lot of people still haven't watched High Life. I fucking love High Life. That film was amazing.
I don't think Kyle has.
I
You haven't
haven't
watched
seen,
High Life?
nah.
High Life is good. I've got it here somewhere.
I think it's one of those films like Ad Astra.
Banging.
If I'd seen it in cinemas, I probably would have liked it. But at home, I can't imagine myself just putting it on.
To be fair, I didn't like Ad Astra in cinemas.
Oh,
I didn't fuck with Ad Astra. It was, I think part of it was just that I've seen High Life, and every second I was sitting there, I was like, I really wish I was just watching High Life again. But now I feel like High Life is. I really like those type of chamber of reflection type films where they're kind of just trapped in one environment and they're having to deal with each other and the problems, like the human condition and what happens when you get forced in those situations. I just thought it was fire. I think the film's amazing.
Who was it by? Who directed it?
Claire Denis,
Oh, that's what it was.
what else has she directed? She
Beau
directed
Travail, and
what?
that Vincent Gallo vampire one.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought she did something else, something like more mainstream. Because I don't think I've seen any of her films.
She's got a new film with Margaret Qualley, and Robert Pattinson as well. It's like a rom-com or some shit.
Simon, what did you think of High Life? Would you recommend
I
it?
liked it. I recommend it to you because like I don't want to give too much away because I went into it blind and was kind of like, yo. There's a few
Yeah,
moments where you're like, yo, okay. And
it's some crazy shit that film.
yeah, but it hooks you once you after the first yo, in my opinion. Yeah.
I know there's a like a subplot involving cum. Like
Damn
I've
it.
heard a lot of that. So
Honestly, even if you know that, there's so much wild shit in this film
Yeah.
where you'd think Claire Denis, for such an old lady, she's got some shit going on up there. She's freaky as fuck.
is it like Scorsese directing Wolf of Wall Street at like 76 or whatever he did?
Honestly, even wild. There's just this one like thing, this one location, which is a genius idea to be honest. She had fucking thoughts on that one, but once you get there, it involves like the doctor and shit. It's just wild.
So yeah, I think that's it for today. Zishan, thank you for joining us today, replacing your brother.
No worries, I had fun.
Simon, thank you for joining us as well. Next week, Sharek should be back, and we will be joined by a very special guest. We're going to be joined by Jeffrey Borslow from the Cast Movie Cast, and we're going to be talking about Heat, a film I wanted to watch for a very long time. So, Zishan, have you seen Heat?
Tried to watch the film like 5 times. I always get to the part during Natalie Portman's like, "Where's my beret?" or whatever.
Yeah.
And for some reason, it's like an act of God. Someone will always come in and be like, "Oh, you gotta leave to go do this." Every time I want to watch it purely for the sake of, when the film starts, you see Robert De Niro with that like weird goatee. That's how I was like, this one's gonna be fire.
Yeah, so thank everyone for watching the Letterboxd 250 podcast. I've been Kyle.
Simon.
You should.
And we hope you enjoyed.